Ahoy, hoy, friends. Welcome to the Salon. We are talking about Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, Episode 3, Jinaal. Get excited. Always a fun day when there's new Star Trek to talk about. Trevor's so excited he had to disappear.
I was
There
so
he is.
excited I hit the wrong button. So that's how excited I was.
Welcome to my intrepid saloners. We've got a good crew tonight, not a full crew. I know a couple of people will just be in the chat. A couple of people are out with family obligations. Boo, family. No, just kidding. Have fun with that. But always excited to have our friends in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe, all of the things. We are at Salon Trek in all of the places where we exist, which would just be 3, really: Twitter, Blue Sky, and here on YouTube. So all 3 of those places at Salon Trek. Thank you all for joining us. Let's get started. And as always, in order for us to get started, we must first set an intention.
One of these days I'm going to get it lined up with the actual animation, so I'm just going to be holding it as the picture fades.
You should put it on the other side of your face because there's a glare coming in from your back window. Very closer to your face. Burn yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, right. No, nope. To the side. Yep, right there. Right there.
It's actually just because I'm so fucking pale that any light that creeps in this room
you've got a full JJ lens flare on your right side.
And so we're going to be talking about Star Trek 2009. Saloners, in order to set an intention tonight, not only welcome to Trill, but congratulations on being a Trill. You've just become joined. And I would like to know what each of you would like to acquire from your new symbiont. So what trait or new skill or memory would you like to possess now that you're a joined Trill? And as usual, I will start us off by saying that despite being languages and pretty good with ASL, I can't read music to save my life, and would love to be able to play an instrument. So hopefully my new symbiont can I don't know, play piano or saxophone or kazoo for all I care at this point. Would love or for Sohail, all the sex memories of your sin. Sohail, just have more now.
I gotta interrupt for our first from the chat.
Go. But also, Sohail, you're a young gay in Miami. Just go get it. Like, what are you waiting? Why are you waiting to be joined? Like, just go be joined. So sorry, shut up, Matt. You're on mute, and I'm still telling you to shut up. Just for that, Matt, you
shut
go
your
first.
Face up.
Tell your face to be quiet. No, go for it. Tell me. Give me your answer.
All right. You know what? I'm going to make up a whole story for my symbiont. I would love to have already gone through the academy. I want to take the symbiont of like a Starfleet captain. Like I don't want to have to do the work for it. I just purely want all of the Starfleet knowledge to just be in my body, and that way I can just skip right to being successful and not have to actually do the work, which is what I aim to do with most of my life.
So you want the sacred ritual to help you skip school?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Ken, you're up next, my love.
Now if I had a symbiont inside me,
I'm sorry.
So
it's the way he said it, right? It was the way. Yeah,
you weren't alone. Yeah, no.
It's not what you said. It's how
that's how I said it. If I had,
we are as one.
A symbiont inside me. So I think I would actually like to be more social with my relationships, because I'm not a very social, although it seems like I might be. I'm not a very social person. So
I have a text thread that says differently.
So no, I mean like in person. Relationships are difficult for me, like relationships. But so that's what I would hope my symbiont would bring to the equation. Would be able to say, Ken, you know what you're doing, get out there. Anyway, okay, that's it.
So Matt's skipping school. Matt skipping school.
Yeah.
Ken is partying. So far, I see this just basically being us being ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to Joanne.
So I would um I would like to be kind of an artist, drawing and sculpting and yes, painting. Uh I think that would be exciting. I always feel like that part of art was not nurtured in me. But also on a serious note, I would like to be, not that that's not serious. I think I would like to be a parent. Like I've never been a parent. And I would like that experience.
That's very sweet. And then finally, you could stop raising all of us.
It's a pleasure. Not
Will,
A will to live. That's what I want from the symbiont. A will to live. I don't know. I was thinking about it, and like, it's such like a douchey thing to say, but it's like I don't know if there's anything I would want from the symbiont other than like, I don't know if I would ever be joined as a Trill. I find it weird. I don't like the idea of it. Not being like an individual person, but having like the memories of a bunch of other people. I don't know how I personally feel about that. But since that's not the question, I guess like it, like someone who's really good at math. Like it's not like I'm not bad at math. It's just not my favorite thing. So I wish I was just better at it, so I didn't have to deal with it. Such a shit answer, but like also just like, I don't know. I was a good musician. I'm good at art. I don't know. I'm just good at stuff. So like, I feel like the symbiont is really getting a lot from me. I'm just saying that. Like it's getting a lot from me.
Model, you're Linda Evangelista. You're just
exactly stunning. I'm gorgeous. They live for me on the runway. Like I feel like they're just getting a lot from me personally, from my story, from me. So hopefully, thank you so much. I am brave. I am courageous. So thank you so much. I'm a portrait in courage. But anyway, I'd be the best host because I already know everything. Exactly. Thank you. I'll take your host virginity. I don't care.
I don't think math is a bad answer because as somebody who like I only have one sibling, but he was born first and he took whatever math was in the womb with him. So I just, fortunately he left personality. Anywho.
But yeah, I don't know. It just be chill. I just want the host to be chill. Don't be like fucking weirdo.
I feel like Joel has a good point that he said in the chat that you could use someone that was, just chill.
Yeah.
And a little bit lame. Yeah.
Just vibe, girl. Like I want a roommate, but I don't want to ever see them. Like if I ever when I never get married, I really do hope that like we don't live in the same house. Thank you, Walter. So we don't live together. Like if we do have a house, they live in the other wing, so I never see them. That's what I want from a host, like from a symbiont. Like you're there, but I just don't have to deal with you unless I want to. Anyway,
that was deep.
Thank you so much. I'm a little
welcome.
Thank you for being brave, Will.
And courageous and beautiful.
A portrait in courage, darling. A portrait in courage.
Your humility is an example to us all.
It really is.
I agree with everybody. No, I want all of the thing. No, it was said in the chat, like handyman, fixer upper, like being good with my hands would be fun. Ha 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 ha. Not a problematic gay alert. Will, don't make that face. But actually, Trevor, I agree with you. I don't have any musical talent, and I would love to be able to play the piano. So if I got that from a past host, that would be ideal. All right. Well, intentions are set. Lovely as ever, Trevor. Thank you very much. So let's get into it. We are here to discuss the third episode of Star Trek Discovery's fifth and final season, Jinaal. This episode, by my count, had 4 disparate stories being told. Not really an A and a B, but an A, 1 and 2 on Trill, a B on the ship, and a C on Federation headquarters. So we are going to get into it and talk about our top thoughts. All right, y'all. 60-second top thoughts. Hit me with it. We'll go Ken, Trevor, Matt, Will, me, Joanne will end it.
So I saw the episode twice. The first time I saw it, I actually liked it a lot more than the second time, because the second time I realized that it was 4 plots, which is basically 2 plots too many to try to get into one episode. But, Discovery does great with his character moments. We've talked about that before. But in this case, I think their character moments sort of slowed things to a crawl. It was still a good episode, the worst of the 3, but still a good episode. That's my top thoughts.
Top and abridged. Very nice. I don't know if my fondness for this episode is really about this episode or if it's about what this season is shaping up to be, which is a nice continuous story with very clear chapters. And I prefer that just as a storytelling vessel. I would like to be able to go back and maybe watch this one or watch episode 5 or watch episode 2 and not feel like I'm just jumping into the middle of a story. So I like it for that, but also I am enjoying. I liked the trip back to Trill because Trill's seems like a fun place. I like the. I liked the bit of chasing after the missing piece and the monster and all of that fun, the hilarity that ensued. I struggled. I am not going to criticize anyone's talent because I don't think that's my place, but I struggled with some of the choices that Wilson made in embodying the former host. It just felt a little forced at times, but also seemed like a lot of fun for him as an actor, just to like play someone else. But anyway, um, I liked bringing back the ceremony, the Shintara. Like I thought that was kind of cool, and yeah, it's shaping up to be a season that I'm enjoying very much, and I like this episode for that. But the individual bits I can pick apart, but I'll do that later.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a surprise if I say I completely agree, especially about Wilson. Um, I I'm glad that we are done with the Adira Gray thing for now. I'm glad that it's not a focus. I've said it before, and I will say it until I'm blue in the face. These are not good representations of gay people or queer people, and like it's just. And I realized I was talking to somebody else about this, and it feels like they still are queer people written by and for straight people, of like this is what we think that it's like, and we're highlighting and like really driving into like all of the stereotypes of it. um oh, there's different types of relationships now, and oh, like it feels like you're throwing all of the non-heteronormative things at the wall and making the gay characters take it. That's just a personal opinion. It feels a little overloaded, and poorly executed. So to me, yeah, didn't like any of them that way. But did love the scenes with Craner and Tilly. Loved it. I wish I was exactly how I was hoping that she would end it, with him that way. Those were fantastic. The Burnham and Book scenes, I was like, okay, this is moving the plot forward. This is like these are the ones that are carrying the whole, treasure hunt storyline. I get it, but it wasn't doing it for me. I really do think it's the writing. I don't think it's the actors at all. I think they're fantastic actors. I think they're just working with what they're given, and I think what they're given is usually not great. Um, but besides that, I loved the Saru. T- oh my god, why can't I think of her name? The Vulcan
Tarina.
Tarina. Thank you. I kept wanting to say Talin, and that's lower decks. Um, Loved their whole story. I think it's really interesting. It's giving us a glimpse outside of Starfleet and outside. We're getting into the politics of it, which is something I've always wanted to see a little bit more. I think it's really interesting, especially now we can explore this from like it's not the perfect union of Starfleet and the Federation. So overall, I'm really excited about the season still. I'm definitely not disappointed, which is a pleasant surprise. But there are definitely things that I'm like, ugh, there's just those sticking points of Discovery being Discovery where I'm like, ugh, the dialogue is like, ugh, like I don't know. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Oh, and obviously Trill, we're on Trill. You can do no wrong in my book when you put on like when you go to Trill. I mean, you can do a lot of wrong, but like I'm always happy, even if it's a terrible execution. Which this was rough because apparently they just let anyone get into the Guardian chambers now, and that whole thing. But I'm still going to be completely egotistical enough to think that they saw my handle and just based Jinaal Bix on that. Come on, that does sound like if Giselle Ricks went undercover and had to think of a name really quickly, I'm Jinaal Bix. Like it does. Anyway, all right, that was it.
Okay. It, this is like a this is like a soup that has a bunch of ingredients in it that don't really belong together. It's like as I dissected the episode as a whole, I'm like, that shouldn't be in here, that shouldn't be in here. This wasn't necessary. This wasn't interesting. It moves the plot forward, I think, because I'm thinking how we're a third of the way through this. So normally we'd be like 2 more episodes in before we would really be a third of the way through. So now we're kind of at the point where we're at the rising action section of the story, theoretically. But I just don't. As I looked at the different storylines, it does seem like we're at the. This is not a Game of Thrones where you can have 5 storylines running and like all of them seem to be treated the same. And with Walter has found a toy. And that they like, I don't think the Adira Gray thing needed to be a whole subplot. Like it could have been something a little more simpler. Like they already broke up, and this is like an awkward moment between them where they kind of mend a fence, maybe like something we don't need to see on screen happen, but something we see the outcome of. So like it I don't know. And like it just felt like I don't want to say low budget, but it did seem like, I don't know, you made a dish out of your leftovers. It's like, we need to get through payday. Here, I just put all this together. Here you go. My mom used to call it pick at night. So she's like, go pick something out of the fridge. There's leftovers. It just felt like we were at a point where we were like, oh, I'll have like, you know, when you're at lunch at home and you just eat a handful of random shit from the fridge. It just didn't feel like it was, I'm hungry apparently. So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of nothinged it. I'm just ready to move on to the next thing because it didn't mean anything. It just felt like we got some stuff. Some of it was good, but I'm like, okay, I've reheated this enough. I'm ready for something new. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, as we move forward. Some of the other stuff was fine, but let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy because I feel like there's a lot there are some good things happening. There's some interesting bits, but there's so much happening that the pacing got thrown off for me. I'm really liking this season as a whole so far. This was not my favorite episode. If this ends up being the air quotes least favorite of the season, we're looking forward to an excellent season if that's the case, because this wasn't a bad episode. It was just wonky. I thought the stuff with Tilly and Rayner was lovely. It felt sort of, it was a little odd that it was Tilly who is on loan from the academy as a science specialist, but every episode of Star Trek has something that doesn't make sense. Like you just can't overthink it. Captain Burnham has somebody that she can trust, who's not part of her crew, outside of her chain of command, that she can get the lowdown from after the fact. Like, how did this asshole do? You're not under his command, so you can be honest with me. So I just made it make sense in my head, I guess. I love the stuff that's happening at Federation headquarters. I'm a little indifferent about Taru's announcements shenanigans. I like what's happening between them and Tarina being like, I don't need a protector, fuck off. Loved that moment. And I love those sets. I'm hoping those sets transition over to Starfleet Academy because I think as bright as they are, and I feel like I would be dying in them because I do not like brightness. I think they're really cool. What else? Really lovely visuals. I was saying on a different stream earlier, I love that the symbionts are sort of like cats. When it's their time to die, they just swim off on their own and, you know, die alone so that they're not a burden on anybody else. That was lovely. Although I was missing the little electrical whatever in the pools. Everything else though looked really cute. And yeah, I agree with the other stuff on Trill. I liked Will's fix it, like seeing the aftermath of a breakup that was referenced earlier, I think would have fit better than seeing this awkward, like, I think you all are right. It feels very queer people written by a mostly straight white writing staff. Because this wasn't, I know there's at least one gay man on the writing staff this season, and this was not his episode. So it was just wonky, awkward, unnecessary. Like it pulled me out of the action, such as it was with what was going on with Culber. And I agree. Like I thought he made some odd choices, and it felt a little like Wilson Cruz is a better actor. It felt like a bad actor playing straight. And like it just didn't work for me. And like the cheesy joke about working out, like, oh, this guy really works out. Like it did he ask for that? Because like, listen, I follow his Instagram and good God, he's beautiful. We get it. But like, is a writer flirting with him? Is a writer trying to poke fun at him? Like, it would have been better if it was like, wow, does this guy live at the gym? Like there was a better joke there. And so like that, it just felt braggadocious to me. And as somebody who doesn't look like that, I'm not afraid to admit that I might be projecting my own insecurities on it. And those are my top thoughts. Joanne, close us out.
So I also had to watch it twice to, I guess, maybe appreciate it a little more on my second watch. So I guess I had the opposite reaction that Ken did. I appreciated that. I think the through line was them learning to communicate kind of through conflict and connect again. So even though I think it was kind of wonkily executed, brilliant word, Stanley. So, overall, I didn't hate it, but I absolutely didn't love it either. And I agree that Wilson made some weird choices. For me, he will forever be Janito Vargas from Noah's Ark, old school throwback, right? So I always see him, who was also a doctor, right? I think. So I always hear that. So whenever he's not doing that, I don't know what to do with him. Even though I got to see him when he was Angel in Rent, but that's a different dynamic. I know. I know. But suffer bitches. But he I don't know. He made some interesting choices, but overall it was good. 2 thumbs up. No, 1 thumb up, 1 thumb down. How about that? Yeah. And those are my top thoughts.
That works. Thank you very much. And of course, folks in the chat, we'll throw up comments where we can. Let us know what you think as well. So let's deep dive some of these different plot points here. We've been talking about it, but a little bit deeper. Let's talk about what's going on Trill first. So we have Guardian Cockblock coming in with a riddle first, saying, "Hey, before you can beam down, you have to get this riddle." She solves it rather quickly. They go down, and we learn some fun stuff about the Trill. It's not common, but it's not unheard of for a symbiont to live 800 plus years, which is what's happening here. This last host is desperately hanging on to give this clue to somebody who can deserve it. And then, of course, we get a Jantara. We get to see a little bit of action in what I call the Vasquez Rocks of Canada, that quarry, which is been seen in at least one episode every season of Discovery, and I think at least twice on Strange New Worlds.
Also, Star Trek Beyond.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. The motorcycle jump, right? Yeah. And then we've talked about it, but the awkward breakup. So bigger thoughts about where or additional thoughts about where this visit to Trill fits in our overall story. Anything that folks didn't share in their top thoughts that they want to extemporize on further? Trevor, and then Ken, and then Will.
The riddle felt very ridiculous, but also felt very Trill hasn't entered or joined the Federation yet, even though they have rejoined. Not to keep using the word joined and rejoined with association of the Trill, but they're back in the Federation, so why do I need to answer a puzzle before you'll let me beam down? Like, I should be able to just beam down. Like, I currently don't have to answer a riddle to get to Arizona. I can just go there. So that felt super strange, and just sort of like, we need a thing for this episode, and to make this more interesting, let's do this. What, Matt?
Not to, and I'm in-butting.
Go for it.
Wasn't
That's
that the
my
whole
line.
thing? Because they said why they were on their way, and I think that flagged, like in the system, it was like, this is so heavily classified and has been for so long that's why it was like, oh, you're asking about, like, if they had just come to visit, I think they would have been able to land. But they specifically said, hey, we're looking for this, and that's what they were like, before you're allowed to look for this, you have to prove that. Like,
and that would have worked for me if they had said it when they beamed down, like, hey, welcome, before you go digging through things, we have to get you to answer that. But instead it was like, you can't set foot here. Like, it felt very you shall not pass, and it was odd. It just felt oddly placed for me. And agree with what everyone said with respect to, this is the one time I would have appreciated Discovery telling me instead of showing me, the Adira and Gray situation. It just felt very YA. Like, why are you showing me this breakup? Like, it's not anything I wasn't that vested in their relationship. Like, the characters are lovely, and I hope they both have wonderful lives. But like, Adira's 16, 17. Like, do I care who they are partnered with at this point? Like, you're not going to be with this person forever. You're 17. Like, I don't care. Like, so, I mean, I if they're sad, I will give them a hug and order their favorite ice cream out of the replicator and spend some time talking about it if they really want to. But I don't need to watch it as 20 minutes of this episode, which is what it felt like. Just what was brought up earlier, haven't mentioned that it happened. Like, that should have been the conversation between Adira and Reno. Oh, well, this is going to be awkward because we broke up like a week ago and I just haven't told anyone yet, kind of a thing. And then they see each other and it's awkward. That would have been ideal. But I've kind of already picked on Wilson about choices. My biggest issue, though, with the surface of Trill, once we got past the you shall not pass rule, we get down there and we already know that the pools are sort of like just off the gardens, so to speak. Like, in season 4, we saw them beam down to sort of a lush forest, which apparently abruptly ends next to a rock quarry. Like, it was just very like, how deep do these caverns go, where suddenly the entire landscape changes when you go out the other side. So not to be like a nitpicker for geography, but like, don't frickin' show, like, you've only shown me the surface of like 2 Federation planets in this entire series. We just saw the last one last season. Why are you now changing its landscape so abruptly when you're literally in the same location? It just didn't make any sense.
It was super weird that they, like, I get walking, like, I want to go for a walk, whatever. I want to enjoy this body because look at that old bag over there. I haven't been able to do anything fun for 25 years. But like, beam there and then do the walk, like it was, you're right. It totally right. It's weird that the caves are right next to this really interesting thing where I hit a clue that is super critical. Like, I'm actually going to try and kill you. It's so important. But it's also right next to the most important thing on our planet, the symbionts. Super weird.
Like, and a perfect opportunity to show to have the old okay, I'm going to get the terminology right. To have the old host learning about newer technologies, he shows them on a map really fast, and he's like, I don't know how long it will take us to get there. And they're like, oh, it's no problem. Just tap your badge and like we'll end up there. Like that's all they had to do. And then poof, they're in the quarry. Like they didn't, but instead he's like, let's go for a walk outside. And I'm like, why? There's a forest out there. Oh, just kidding. If you go through the back entrance, you're actually in a rocky desert. Like it was just, again, I'm being super nitpicky, but it's because you've only shown me. And no, I'm not asking that thing that sci-fi loves to do where it's like this world is a desert world, this world is a snow planet. Like that's not what I mean. I understand, like, but I'm just saying the geography made no sense. So anyway, end of rant. I'll shut up now.
So my thoughts were that they did a couple of things which Star Trek tends to do all the time when they need to. The technology works until it doesn't because the story gets fucked up. Oh, we're too close to the rocks for the transporters to work. Really? Okay. That's just nuts. The other thing is 800 years ago, were these creatures 800 years ago building a nest and 800 years ago? I mean, that's a little bit weird too. I did like the name check to the Dominion War. I thought that was cool. I thought this whole idea of, I like the idea of the replicated matter phasers. That's kind of neat. Again, the technology, they've got this new thing where the technology does all kinds of wondrous magical things where they need to for the plot, but we'll just turn it off when we don't. I mean, that's just, I think, lazy writing. Sohail's not here. I can say that, right? And then the other thing is that, I just lost the other thing. Oh, the ability to communicate, Book's ability to communicate. Again, that works when it needs to and doesn't work when it doesn't. And, I think that's a cool ability that Book has. But, I was pretty sure that Book was standing pretty close to the exact spot where the transporters didn't work later in the episode, where he transported right in front of Burnham to take the bullet or take the thing, right? So that drove me nuts. Anyway,
I'm going to inbutt for 1 second, just to say you're absolutely right, Ken. But also, yes, and how many times during TNG do we hear the transporters are offline, sir? And
yeah,
how often can Troy not sense that particular life form? Because if she did, the show would be over before the credits ran. Well, so like you're not wrong, but but I also wanted to acknowledge that it's just a Trek trope.
It's quintessential Star Trek, right? The shield will work or not, all 100%. That. Also, I threw this in the chat, but I'll say it here too. No, wrong one. I need them to say it, but I am certain, I am convinced, because we saw in the last episode of Voyager, future Janeway comes back, tells the Doctor about technology that he is going to invent, the chip in her brain that allows her to pilot the vessel. Something in that vein is what works with the programmable matter and the Tricom badge. Because they were double tapping, they weren't bringing anything up to say where they want to go. They have not said this, but I feel like there is no other explanation. Programmable matter and the Tricom badge, the personal transporter, it's neural linked. You just have to think about where you want to go and double tap, and then you'll beam there. And I think if they were to just say that out loud to make it canon, that makes it make sense. Because if you're in the middle of a battle or whatever, your phaser gets knocked away, you're not thinking you're thinking get away from the firing, the phaser fire, not whatever. So it gives them an out for why sometimes they don't why did they make a rope to get Adira out of the ice last season? Well, Tilly is stressed out and that's all she could think of in that moment. It's dumb, but whatever, it worked. The stress of the situation can give the characters an out for not doing something that makes sense with the programmable magical matter now.
Well, and they're not consistent, right? So even in this episode, when
And that fixes
When-
the inconsistency. It's like, oh,
Right.
I didn't think about it in the moment. I was being shot at.
But I mean, even when they were beaming up after the episode was over, and the doctor did the tap to beam up, and then Burnham said to Book, "You should beam up to sick bay too." He just smiled. He didn't do anything. He just disappeared. Right?
Right.
I didn't see him tap anything. He
I
just
can fix
vanished.
that. I can fix that.
It's in his
Books is on
glove.
his sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Books
that's
is on
right.
his
It
sleeve.
is. It is. Yeah.
Okay.
William, I took some of your time. My apologies.
You did. Thank you. Your apology is not accepted.
Well, then I'm gonna take more. No.
Oh my gosh, shut up. Thank you. I'm joking. I forgot what the topic was. Trill. The plot is always plotting. Like, I feel like we've done, like, TNG's done this a bunch where, like, oh, suddenly this thing doesn't work. Oh, we have to use this because plot. Like, that's a Star Trek is phasers, girl. Like, warp plasma. Like, who fucking cares? Like, technobabble. Write yourself out of it with this bullshit. The thing I had issue with was, like, it was just kind of like, oh, Trill is like half a planet, half a quarry. And I know they're filming in fucking Toronto. Who cares? But like, it's like y'all couldn't have done like a nice drone shot of something. Like, it's just like sometimes the show is shot on such a is shot like it's still 1992. Like, it just drives me nuts. It's like, Mama, you have a drone. Do a drone shot. Do something. You have visual effects. Do something. It's just it's just weird. It's like sometimes I'm like, this planet looks like shit, and it's not because they're like the planet itself is bad. It's just they're not shooting it well, and there's no like, oh, there's this on. It's just this episode is like, we should just rename it like the plot be plotting. Like, it's just everything moved at the speed of plot, and like, oh, this suddenly doesn't work, and it's like, all right, girl, like, we dealt with that for 50 plus years, so it's fine. But like, I don't know. I had a point, but y'all talked too much and I forgot. So I don't know.
What wine are you drinking tonight? It's angry juice this evening.
It's this Sauvignon, this Cabernet Sauvignon from Trader Joe's is making me bitchy.
Apparently.
Sorry. Actually,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not. I'm not. I'm normally really fun on this, but fuck y'all. Y'all are trash.
Guys, I might add Trader Joe's references to the scorecard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
we're a
mine. Yeah,
sponsor.
it's all
Oh, we
me.
talk about
It's
them all
all
the time.
me. Like,
Yeah.
like I got paid, so I was able to purchase food for my home. Please, I'll leave my Venmo in my bio. Send me money. Anyway,
So we can buy more snacks from the Union Busting Snack store.
leave me alone.
It's fine. It's fine.
So I don't live next to a fancy. Anyway, we don't need to get into this. Airing dirty laundry on the salon today.
More about Trill.
As
Oh,
opposed
God,
to
yeah.
every other day.
I would just say I was not trilled with Trill. Anyway, bye.
I agree. And I agree with what Ken was saying earlier. It was a nice plot dropping of the Dominion War. It makes some sense. These scientists were like, we're in the middle of this war. Like, the Federation isn't exactly like it's interesting to consider, like, what did they know? Did they know about Section 31? Because these people were empowered by the president of the Federation to do their work. So maybe they had access to resources, Section 31, to complete their task. So they're seeing things potentially that in the Dominion War, like, are they aware of what was happening to those few changelings on the station that we saw in Star Trek Picard? Like, them choosing to hide this, even the Federation is not ready, not right now. They're in the middle of a war. They're doing some shady fucking shit too. So, like, immediately after this war, when everybody's still pissed off, is not the time to have this kind of power. That said, them hiding it, totally get it. Like, why was he able to just pull it out of a couple of rocks? It was a weird choice because they made it seem like it has just been hanging out in that soft hiding place for 800 years. I really wish he had just had it on him. Like he got it from its actual hiding place. We didn't need to see it. Unless they
Maybe
made it
that's what he
more
did.
elaborate.
That's what I thought happened, that he got it from the actual place, because he said the little whatever was a red herring. Like he probably
Yeah.
just drew that on there, and then when he ran away, he was like, "Haha, it's in my pocket."
Well, I thought that too, but then on my rewatch this morning, he goes over to some other rocks and like it looks like he's pulling it out of the hiding place for the first time. But maybe that was a secondary hiding place. It just it looked weird is all I'm saying. But
So he didn't have it visible when they walked in, but he
Yeah.
may have found it
So if I'm,
somewhere.
so Stan, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that when he pulled it out, it looked weird.
yes, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to being very excited when he pulls it out.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. And
Do it. Go ahead. Do it.
Yep,
You got to
yep.
do it.
Yep. I just gotta. I need an executive producer because this takes us. Indeed.
It
Indeed.
was also very little when he pulled it out.
That's right.
But it was hard.
In the arms of the angel.
I know your family, but that felt adjacent enough to be an ally and not a problematic gay.
I have a question that will lead to a potential Trev fixed it. Matt, in the DS9 episode where they are referencing the color of the ocean, and what color were Trill's oceans supposed to be? Was it purple?
Green or
I don't
purple?
know.
Green.
It doesn't
I
look
think
purple
green was
enough
beige.
to me.
Purple, yeah. So green was Bajor. So like this is a Trev fixes it for Will's issue with the way that it was filmed. Like you don't even need a drone, you just need to put a little bit of a hue on everything. Give me a filter so that for some reason whatever's in Trill's atmosphere makes everything look a little purpler. And I just made up that word. But yes, give me a purple hue for hue.
But on that note, though, when they showed the overview of Trill, the oceans weren't very purple. Like, it wasn't like they showed that overview and then it zooms in and everything on that hologram. Like, I really, and I need to go back and look at it again. But the first time through, it didn't seem like they had even done much to make the purple comment, which is like, so have we watched the episode where Jadzia even says that? Like, it's one of the most famous episodes. Also, can anyone name the episode that it's in?
Yes, it is in the first.
Was it in past tense?
Yes, the first one.
I thought so.
Past tense, part 1.
So it's the only time we went to Trill on Deep Space Nine was the actual waters, the cave. Was that all we saw on Deep Space Nine of Trill?
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
no.
We didn't
also
see
saw
water.
Oh no!
We
Wait,
saw
Ezra
cave,
went
we saw
to.
cave water, but we didn't see their oceans in Deep Space Nine.
No, that's what I meant. We didn't see their oceans, but we saw they
didn't see the
only went
surface.
to the we only went to the cave in Deep
Yeah,
Space
we
Nine.
only saw the symbiont
Yeah.
guardian area. Yeah.
Milk
Right.
water. Any other thoughts on Trill
Or milk.
or
water for that matter?
or the milk toast breakup that we saw?
Yeah, that was crazy. And I love how they were like, nothing can get through Trill security. Oh, except us. Yeah.
Also, I'd like to say, speaking of breakups, I'm wondering if there was a little foreshadowing when Tig was talking to Stamets, because she says everything has an expiration date, and he went like, huh.
I feel like there
That look at the end.
Yeah.
You know they're breaking up. Something's happening there. Hugh got
like
something happened with him. They're
with
break
everything
them
that
up.
they've
You breakup
them up.
sadists are not going to get your way.
listen,
It's not going to happen.
No,
It-
these
I'm sure
gays
they're
don't
not.
deserve to be
They're gonna be
happy.
fine. They'll have one episode where they argue, and then Burnham comes in, and it's just like I can fix it, and like it'll be fine. But like
As a xenoanthropologist, I can fix your relationship.
something.
It's
yeah,
like
so
Will
it's
said
like it'll be
last week.
fine.
It would
But
be
like
the most interesting thing that happens to this couple because they don't give us anything interesting for them.
they shouldn't have been together in the first place.
Yeah, but
If they finally just have sex.
after everything that they've been through, I think it
Well-
would be weird for them to break them up. I think
He's
he's
stop.
going to leave Starfleet. I think he's going to retire. But I would not be surprised if it was a breakup. Everybody's breaking up in this season, except for Taru and Taru.
Taru.
Wilson made a comment on the Ready Room, on his Ready Room interview about, it's Star Trek. You never know when you're going to see us again. That Stamets is probably teaching at the Academy. Like, I don't know that he'll be a regular, but we're going to get, like, he's going to either leave Starfleet or just leave active service and become a professor.
It
Or
does
maybe-
feel like there's
maybe both
allusions
then.
to it, because in the first episodes where he talked about how they're passing on the Spore drive, they're moving to the Pathfinder drive. It does seem like he's going to end up finding another path. It did seem like they're setting up them to, like, which is kind of cool that Starfleet Academy is just Discovery 2 in some way.
I would
One of
not
them
mind if
hoping
it
that
was
they
only
learn.
Tilly.
Well,
I would not mind if it was only Tilly on that show, but if they, I don't like Stamets, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, but I love Anthony Rapp, but he's not
I
the character
want-
that I want to see on the show.
I want Tilly, Detmer, and Oo to be like. I want Detmer and Oo to end up being like professors at the Academy, and Tilly recruits, because we haven't seen a lot of them. So I'm hoping that it's like, oh, they left Discovery, these people took their place, and then we get to see them on. I would love. Then we actually get to explore their backstory. We get to see them as characters. Like
Yes.
that would be
I
a
want-
really fun thing.
I love that idea, but I also really, really want the show to end with Burnham getting the Enterprise Q or Z, and Owo getting Discovery.
the way we're describing it, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit like Aftermath. But I think the scenes with Tilly in this week's episode and last week's episode, they're definitely building Tilly up more. And so I really think that Tilly is going to, in fact, she said in an interview where she was asked directly, she basically said this week, "You're just trying to get me in trouble." She didn't deny it, that she's, that she's going to be spinning off.
I really want to know the backstory to, so season 4, like she wanted to take time off to do the play that she was in, and it was apparently incredible. Like all of the reviews were incredible. They were like, she's a shining star. But then I wonder if, like, did they know how early they've talked about a Star Trek Academy show off and on for years, but did they give her that out for her schedule knowing, or was it just a happy happenstance? I'm intrigued.
I think knowing. I think they needed to write her out for something, and they were like, well, hey, we're going to transition her to this show. We may as well have her start there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because they announced Starfleet Academy like so long, before, like, we knew about this a year, almost 2 years ago. So like
It was
they didn't even
just
announce
before
Strange New
Picard
Worlds.
season
Like
3
they
started.
kind of hinted at it, and we didn't really get anything, and then they announced it before it
And they already
started.
had it going for 12 to
It was in the
18
middle
months
of-
before they announced it.
It was in the middle of
But it feels like
Picard
we've known
season
about this
3.
for a very long Starfleet Academy for a very long time. Like in
Yeah.
a way where it was like, is this happening or not? Like, because they had assembled writer rooms, they had started production, they doing all this stuff. So it does seem like this was like set up, like there was a lot of thought into this beforehand. But it's weird that we knew about it.
Yeah,
so
March
far.
30th, 2023.
Yeah, it just feels like we've known about it forever, though.
A year.
I don't
We've it's been official for a year and 2 weeks.
But they've been hinting at it for even before that, though.
For a while,
They
yeah,
were talking
for
about
sure.
it forever. It wasn't official, but they hinted at it probably before, like a year before that even happened. Like it felt like we knew about Starfleet Academy long before they officially announced that it was happening, which is odd for them to be doing it. So I don't know why.
Oh, they're placing it in Discovery's timetable, obviously, and so Tilly is basically going to be the Miles O'Brien pull through to the spinoff. So I think that's how they're going to do it, and they've always sort of done that kind of thing.
I do
the
like
most
the way
important
that
person
the way that
to ever
she's
serve in
not
Star Trek.
talking about it.
Sorry, Stan. I was talking. Over.
No, Go ahead.
He mentioned Miles O'Brien. I said, you mean the most important person to ever serve in Starfleet?
Yes, I hope we get a statue of him in Academy, like somewhere on the Academy grounds. Is just that golden statue of him from Lower Decks. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I like that she's being cagey. I mean, she probably has to be NDAs and whatever, but by virtue of being the only Trek on right now, Discovery is getting the spotlight. This is something I wish Paramount was better about when more is happening. Like, we've talked about this before, and I ranted about it. Like, Discovery season 4 had a few episodes overlapping with Picard season 3, and then Picard season 3 ends when Strange New Worlds premieres. Or season 2, Picard season 2. It is so frustrating because, like, these shows take a lot of hard work behind the scenes. These actors, these creatives deserve the time in the spotlight. So I'm glad that not only would it be inappropriate for her to be talking about it right now, but like let Discovery have its moment. Like it's literally ending in less than 9 weeks. Let's let it breathe and then start talking about the new things coming up that we're excited about.
But also, is her answer not an answer? Because like if she's not in it, she's allowed to say that.
Right.
Discovery's done filming, is in the can. It's on the air right now. So if she wasn't in Starfleet Academy, she would just say, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not in Starfleet Academy."
Right. And the other people are like, "Oh my god, that would be so fun to be in it," and like, that's not exactly an answer. You like I would be the one. I would definitely be that actor that just straight up lies. I'm like, "Oh my god, it would be super fun to be in that," but they haven't asked. Like I would find a way to say it that wasn't actually a lie, but just throwing people off because I'm a messy bitch.
We'd have to keep sober for the entire time until the
Right.
because she'd have 2 glasses of honest juice and be like, "I'm in it. I'm the star."
It's me.
The other
All
thing
right.
is, it'll be interesting to see how much Discovery stays in the spotlight because it looks like there's some sort of Strange New Worlds crossover coming up. So we'll have to see what that might be. So we'll see.
I think that's Mirror Enterprise. I don't think that's Enterprise.
But who's
Oh
on
no,
it?
it's definitely Mirror Enterprise.
But who's on it? Who's the crew? That's the question.
Oh, good call.
Right?
Oh, so you think it's going to be Terran, Captain Pike, and
in stasis?
honestly,
Well, we know that Captain Pike. We know that Kirk took command of the ISS Enterprise after murdering Captain Pike. We know that. My biggest fear is that it's going to be Paul Wesley as Tiberius Kirk.
Well, who do you think it's going to be? They're going to roll in William Shatner, and
They're not going to be able to do that for long. They already established that they people from the Mirror universe can't survive in the 31st century.
Right. That's what's
They already
weird about it.
established that. So what's going to happen?
but
Right.
I'm not convinced that it's them coming here.
Well, and remember, it was the time jump.
There.
Like if they had universe hopped when the universes were closer together, their bodies may have adjusted as the universes drifted apart over time. Or there won't be any people on the ship. It's just the ship.
Will's having a headcanon problem.
My
Yeah,
suspicion
having a
is
headcanon
that
problem.
my suspicion is that we may very well see Ethan Peck with a goatee.
I would not
for it.
mind
We'll
that.
see.
I want to
It
see
would also
Ethan
be- it
Peck
would
with a
be-
goatee.
Yes. It would be legitimately hilarious, though, if William Shatner, after all of this time, all of the assholery, and all of the toxicity in the fandom about Discovery, if William fucking Shatner finally got some cameo in Star Trek Discovery,
And his
People's
only
he-
line is just him screaming, "I'm Captain Kirk!"
heads would explode, and I would love it. It would just be fun to watch the chaos.
What would happen? The only way they would be able to do that, and I've given this some thought, as you might imagine, is audio log of William Shatner's voice. I don't think you'd actually see Shatner very much like you would see. You heard, Walter Koenig in the final episode of Picard season 3. Maybe you
Right.
hear William Shatner as Tiberius Kirk in some sort of log playback. That would be kind of cool. But I do think you're probably going to see Ethan Peck. If anything, you're going to see Ethan Peck as Mirror Spock with the goatee, which would be also cool.
That would be fun. But listen, if we get a Mirror Pike or a Mirror Spock, and they are not sexualized the way that they have sexualized women in the Mirror universe, I'm gonna be pissed. I want Spitties. I want Kirk and Spock. I want Spurk to be canonized. Even if it's the Mirror universe, it's fine. I want them to make out. Make it gay.
Also, mirror number 1.
Yes. Yes. Finally give her something to do. And listen, I earned this a few seconds ago, but for tracking purposes. Thank you.
I gave you credit for it anyway.
All right, let's order. Let's get back to this episode. A committee meeting, that's all I can think of. Let's talk about Federation headquarters. So we had two things going on here. We have Saru and Tarina. They're getting their announcement ready. He is handsome and erudite. We have Vorik 2.0. I forgot his name, but was very Vorik-like in Tarina's political consultants, sowing some doubt with Saru, saying, hey, there's some Vulcan purists. Things aren't looking good for Tarina. Back the fuck off, or whatever he said. And then we get this interesting meeting that, like, just my political operative background loved this, but also like this made more sense than season 4's everybody can talk, everybody can vote, pick a floor, any floor, no assigned seating nonsense. But what were they talking about? Like, what was the revision? Because Saru is like, hey, I have a revision instead of getting, and so to convince you to vote for this revision, not going to say what it is. I know you want a starbase. You're not going to get it for a while. How about we up the patrols for now until a starbase can be built? Would that meet your needs? Vote on this revision. Revising what? What are we revising? I want to know. Who has thoughts on Federation politics and or marriage announcements?
I have thoughts on Federation furniture that apparently chairs have legs now.
Yep.
Because
Or can be bought on Wayfair.com.
Yeah, exactly.
CGI budget is gone.
I think they're only like $500. So you too could have yourself a Federation conference table for a mere $3,000.
Well, it's interesting that they are not mentioning the planets that Saru is ambassador of. They mentioned he's got some small planets. Tarina says, especially considering where their location is, but they don't go into any more details. So I think that's interesting.
Also interesting that 3 of them just look like humans with funny outfits on, which is very TOS early TNG.
Yeah, very TOS.
But also, again, this hasn't been stated in canon, but I in Articles of the Federation, the book that's like all about the presidency and whatnot, there's a lot of wonkiness in there that also drives my political operative heart nuts. But something interesting that I read in there, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Colonies can end up becoming Federation member worlds.
Mhm.
So it's not out of the realm of, like, this is not canon, but if that were to be the case in canon, it would not be out of the realm of possibility that there would be like 7 humans on the Federation Council, but representing 7 different worlds.
Sure. Makes sense. The only thing that was like, some of them looked like they were sort of adorning themselves. They were humans adorning themselves with objects that didn't appear associated with any known current Earth culture. So that was sort of like, look, we're alien because we wear different jewelry.
But that's very Star Trek as well.
Yes. It was cool to see, are they Salayan?
Are those the community people? Yeah.
The Salayans, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool to see. And then the other thing, excuse me, the other person, but with the eyes behind things. Give this show the makeup awards again. Definitely deserved again.
I still want the dandelion people back because that was cool.
I want more of their story. I hope that we have one of them in the background of Starfleet Academy. I think that would be fun. Like, just reuse the headpiece. That's fine, but just and have somebody get really mad and like, or a big gust of wind come and just blow all of them off.
Make a wish.
But then, like, as the episode progresses, it slowly grows back.
Yeah, those are this is an SNL joke, but like, oh, my memories, they're blowing away.
So is Tarina's aide, is he Romulan or is he Vulcan?
Or
Are they
both.
Vulcan or are they human?
Or both?
Or
I don't think
are
we
the
know.
dancers?
He was very emotionally invested, I thought. And I was
Well,
like,
remember, like the Romulans and Vulcans have been back combined for years now. So there's probably I've always just assumed that like the Vulcans don't really like even the Vulcans now show more emotion than they used to, just because of the intermixing from Navarre.
I
Well, the
guess.
Vulcan purist. Sorry, Joanne. The Vulcan purist is something they're going to develop, I'm sure.
I'm sure. But the faulty sort of circuitous logic and then the emotion, I don't know, I was very like, what are you? And like, what? I didn't get it. So, or why he was so hot. In the not physically hot headed.
I'm okay with it. He wasn't bad.
I'd hit it.
You're drunk, girl. I mean,
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Two things
Don't
can be
make-
true.
Don't make me sing, Joanne. Don't make me
Don't make me
sing. I'm
sing.
not drunk. I could
Nobody's
never.
making you sing.
No, people are making me sing. Oh, I don't. Play it in G.
Listen, if you don't want to sing, you don't have to. It's a great sketch.
Anyway, Star Trek. I'm constantly reminded that this is not the West Wing, because like the political stuff is so fucking boring. It's like, cut this out. Like, it could have just been about them. Like, we didn't need to see the meeting. Like, it's written so like I don't imagine politics to be really like fun and like snappy and splashy and like exciting, because it's our political system is run by fucking octogenarians. So like it moves at the speed of Metamucil. So like I don't particularly find this stuff. It's interesting, but like in an episode that had 5 plot lines that all of them were boring as fuck, it was like, can we just? Why was this necessary? The interesting stuff about Saru and Tarina. Well, the interesting stuff about Saru and Tarina was like not the focus. Like, it would have been fun if it was more like, well, we're making this announcement, blah blah, and it was like what do we got to do to? We got fucking Cronenberg. Can we get like fucking someone from the West Wing on this bitch? Like, goddamn. Like,
It would have been funny if this Allison Janney, CJ Craig comes up and says, "You really shouldn't make this announcement."
I love Allison Janney. I met her once, and she is a lovely lady. She is so nice. I met her at SeaWorld. It's a very long story. I held the bathroom door open for her. She's a lovely woman. But it's just like, this isn't Sorkin. Like, you gotta put a little spice on this. Like, mama, if this was a spice, it'd be flour. It was just
we have an emotional moment because that's what Discovery does. Let's put it in a political setting. Ooh, a committee meeting, and give no more thought to it than that.
But mama, the most boring committee meeting I've ever seen, where it's just like the makeup fucking slay. Like that, the makeup was incredible. Whoever's doing that, ass ate. I will do it. Eat their ass. That makeup designer is incredible. Like, they're doing incredible work on the show. I've seen pictures. He's very hot. But like the core of this was really the political ramifications of Tarina and Saru, who are both presumably ambassadors, being in a relationship, and how that. I mean, if we can get Allison Janney on this, I need Allison Janney on this show. Stat. But but like the political ramification that's actually more interesting than this boring ass committee meeting. And it was
Wait.
just
Yeah, it was. But that picture that you just showed of the round table, Stanley, was that is that one that no? For a moment there I thought that was one of the bird creatures from from Lower Decks. Which
oh
would
my
be
god.
awesome.
Make that happen. Listen, also, so I have a theory. I've shared this with people and it's on Twitter. I think Locke is a Zinkethi. I think, and he does not look like the Zinkethi from Star Trek Online. He doesn't need to. It's on Twitter, whatever. But there is one. Oh, I closed the window. There was one picture of a Zinkethi that I was like, I can from Star Trek Online. I was like, I can see it. Whatever. The way that they are described in beta canon fits what was happening with Locke's face at the end, but the way that they're depicted in Star Trek Online would be way too difficult and too expensive and cheesy looking. Like Species 8472. Remember how like it was cool for the time, but like you can't do that now. It would look too cheesy. Like it needs to look real. And this is your last season. Like that's not what they're going to do with their budget. Particularly with what they need these characters to do and to love each other and whatever. So like my theory is he's Zinkethi, which was name dropped in today's episode. It's where we're going next week, apparently. And that's my theory. But yes, the bird creatures is what made me think of it. It would be amazing to see Dr. Miglimo's species here.
Well, them, or I was also thinking about the one from the episode with Peanut Hamper. And Peanut Hamper went and found
Oh, those were
With the oddly hot bird? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was voiced by Harry Shum Jr., right?
Who is just hot, not
Yes.
there's nothing odd about it. Yeah.
Correct.
Matt's having a moment. I feel like Matt deserves a problematic Gaylor for just anything he does.
Yep. Vulcan
Harry
mind
can
meld.
shum in my junior.
Oh god. I don't think you should call it.
Oh God! That was
I mean, we were all taken aback and yet also all agreed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think anyone was gonna argue with that sentiment.
No.
Like,
but,
I just don't think you
it's
should
fine.
call it that. That's
Junior?
Shum
Yeah.
and I.
Oh, Junior. Yeah, that's right, Matt. You got it right.
who wants ice cream? I don't know. Any other thoughts on either Federation politics and how weird and wonky it is, or on Taru's wedding
Those
announcement?
outfits are a serve.
Yes.
I mean, a serve. Both of them. Like A+ costume. He's
Yes.
also hot, or is that the same guy? Costume and makeup.
We also got new pajamas on Culber, blue ones this time with a cool neckline.
Did
They
that
were
feel better?
nice.
Because you had a real problem with maroon.
Yeah, I didn't.
Last
I
time we
didn't like
talked,
the burgundy, so I love the blue.
Yeah.
burgundy was
All right.
controversial.
So the last thing that we haven't talked about yet is the scenes between Rayner and Tilly, plus a whole 20 words with a bunch of our side characters. I loved it. It was super fun. I loved Tilly putting him in his place. It's like, listen, I know you're not going to give me permission to speak freely, so I'm just going to take it. And then like, you've been demoted. Like, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I was seeing what people think about Rayner being a little Shaw-like more in this episode than I had before, but I still think he's more Lorca vibes, and also just his own character. There's similarities, but they're flushing him out really well to be his own character, which is interesting to see for the last season. Acted really well. What's happening between him and Tilly is really interesting. If he doesn't get killed off, he's somebody that I could see being in the Academy show as a command professor or whatever.
Or the new
but
commandant.
the only thing this is in universe. The only thing that I wish Tilly had said in addition was, respect isn't basically a basic level of respect, or some level of some kind of like, actually, sir, with respect, I disagree with you. A baseline level of respect is deserved regardless. Something along there, because like I just hate the idea of respect being earned. Basic human decency is not something that should be earned. Respecting your opinion on something can be earned by your expertise and your experience, but just a basic human level, like a basic person level respect is something that he was missing. I wanted Tilly to just dig the knife a little bit there. And end of rant. Anybody take it away?
So I struggle with him a little bit, right? Or the kind of maybe out of universe. I struggle with the concept of Rainer just a little bit. Although personally in universe, I kind of relate to him. Also a very strong personality, very direct. So I get it, right? I do understand it. But my struggle kind of out of universe is that I feel very much like the Captain Shaw in Picard. The Rainer is very much a response or a reaction to some of the complaints of the fandom, right? About being too emotional. So you bring in, this crotchety, hot guy to, sort of deal with that. And my concern is, and I realize I might be on Lonely Island with this one, is that, the response to the fandom is always to bring in, well, let's bring in the hot white guy, right? To make everybody feel okay and say that we're listening to them. And I think that just feeds right into, just the toxicity and the entitlement that the fandom generates sometimes. So you know what I mean? I struggle with that. Sometimes the response should be, no, you think we're too emotional? We're gonna go super emotional, right? Go the other way. Don't quit throwing them a bone. But like I said, I realize I might be on Lonely Island with that one.
I don't think you're on Lonely Island, but I would say that the check is bringing in the cis het white guy. The checkmate is making him subordinate to Burnham. So it's like, if that was an appeasement to the fandom, it's like, okay, fine, we're making him her first officer. Which I don't know that was the intention of bringing the character in. And everybody has brought up other vibes, but I think it was Joanne. I think it may have been you and Krista, but maybe it was Krista last week that just brought up Jellicoe vibes, which
Yeah,
I
no,
get.
I was very much Jellicoe. Yeah, he's
Were you-
very Jellicoe to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that more than I get any other character, but also, we never really saw Jellicoe warm up to anyone, and we've seen him make changes just in the first couple episodes. So I think he's more developed than Jellicoe ever was. Granted, Jellicoe was only in 2; he's now been in 3. But thanks to Tilly, we've seen him pushed not only out of his comfort zone by accepting this demotion, but by sort of acknowledging the truth that she handed him ever so gleefully.
I loved the bar scene at the end. We have a Ferengi bartender. The bar is called Reds, and apparently that is that character's name. He's a character named Red. More Red. I want to try something. Everybody come off mute. Let's see if we got real ones here. Drink Sluggo Cola. The slimiest cola in the galaxy. Y'all fail.
Oh no, I was frozen for a second. I glitched. I'm sorry.
Failed. The
I didn't
best
know there was
episode
a
of Star
theme
Trek Deep
song.
Space Nine. Profit and Lace.
Boy.
Is that where
Did you
that
just call
part?
it the
Why
best
did?
episode?
Oh, I'm in
I
the
was
wrong
thinking of.
universe altogether. I was thinking of Futurama,
Yeah,
but
the
that's
slimiest
I also was
Slurm.
thinking.
That's
Slurm.
Yeah,
It's Slurm. Slurm's Mackenzie.
But-
Yeah.
Yes,
But I will
thank
say-
you, fathering.
Anytime we think of when they talk about Sluggo, I immediately go to Slurm. But
Yeah.
I was thinking of
Oh.
the Come to Quarks. Quarks is great. Come to Quarks. I forget what that one is too, though.
Come to Quarks.
Oh.
Quarks is fun. Come to
job, man.
Quarks.
Fun.
Don't walk,
Like,
run.
run.
Run. That's it.
The mug.
That's it.
Ugh.
I want to bring it back to Raynor. I feel like this is like a Raynor represents in universe the like pre-discovery arrival and of the revival of Federation, where he's like this kind of frontier captain, has to do a lot of stuff on his own, and Burnham representing kind of the past, now the future of the Federation, and how she's trying to reteach him what it's like to be an explorer, not this kind of frontier cowboy, where it's kind of talking about how the Kirk character archetype, I don't even like, we can talk about that later, about how I don't think that what people perceive as Captain Kirk is actually what is visible in the original series. Ken's gone, so we can talk about this. Where I feel like people that discuss him as this like cowboy, like going around fucking green women, all this stuff, like doing what he wants. But really, he's like the most like by the book captain. Like he's like very like you rewatching the original series. He's not this kind of like this like loose
Maverick
maverick womanizer that people kind of created over time, which is very interesting. But
I would love to have a debate about this.
Yeah, this would be a great away mission episode where we talk about this, because I think there's a lot we could dig into this character and how people
mostly because I agree with the perception that everyone says is a misperception.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Me and Trevor disagreeing that this continues to happen.
Yes, fight.
Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna hop in the car and we'll fight. Yeah, no.
I agree with Will for once. Actually,
we agree a lot, Ken.
All the time. I know.
I have numbers.
But what my thing was about Raynor is I think that they're talking about how this person, this archetype of Raynor, kind of doesn't have a place in either the future of the Federation as it is in Star Trek Discovery, but also this person doesn't have a place in the future of our own, like, as we move forward, like, it's like people in 2020, whatever year it is, move forward into our own Star Trek future. Like, this person doesn't have a place. That there's other people, that what's important is our connection to other people, not our job, like what we do, it's who we are kind of thing. So I feel like there's a larger theme. Do I think they're going to execute this in a way that I think is effective? No. But I see what they're laying the seeds for. I see what they're trying to grow. Are they going to water it effectively and make sure it gets enough sun? Absolutely not. But I do see what they're trying to talk about here. That this person, this Kirk character archetype, doesn't have a place in the future in which we are connected to each other. Because there's a certain level of disconnection that this character has from the people around him in order to kind of be this cowboy diplomat. But yeah, I don't know. I see what they're trying to do with the Raynor character, because I feel like he's more of actually a Kirk cliche more than like a Jellicoe or these other people. Like, I feel like he's more of this like archetype of what we view as a Star Trek captain. I don't know, but I don't see that this is a character that's going to. They're making a comment here, but I just don't think they're going to execute in a way where I feel like it's going to land. If that makes sense.
Right. And I agree with you. I think the Kirk character has been dramatically warped out of, no pun intended, warped out of proportion with pop culture. And looking at Tex Trek's comment too, I agree with that. And, he is kind of like the pop culture expectation of Kirk a little bit. But I do also think that he's more along the lines of, the old soldier who can't live in the new world. I mean, almost the Star Trek 6, if this world is going to change for the next generation, you and my generation is going to have the hardest time living in it, kind of message from Star Trek VI, which the Klingon High Chancellor said to Kirk. So it's a little bit of that too.
In a world of William Shatner's and Betty White's, be a Betty White. Betty White has no skeletons in her closet other than her own now. May she rest in peace. There was no problematic comments. There was no past of like being weird with Black actors back in the day. In fact, she was well known as fighting with studios for allowing actors of color to be a part of her programming. And then there are people, I won't say like William Shatner because I don't think he's patently evil. I just think he's kind of an asshole and he doesn't try to grow with the times.
But we're not talking about William Shatner. We're talking about Captain Kirk.
I am talking about William Shatner. I don't know how that wasn't clear.
Okay.
So in a world of William Shatner's or Betty White's, be a Betty White. And so for Rayner, the connection that I was trying to make is I want them to, I hope that they show his growth as like oh, I get it. I'm set in my ways. I need to stop being an asshole because the world isn't what I grew up in. I need to change with the times as well. That is my hope for the character. But I agree with Will. I don't know that they're going to stick the landing if that's what they're trying to show. But I do hope as we get more of Michael mentoring him, we can see hints of it. It's sort of like we talked about this a little bit with Picard season 2. Some people were like, why are we learning X, Y, and Z about Picard? He's 90, whatever. Who gives a shit about his mommy issues? I'm like, no. It is never too late to work on yourself. It is never too late to be a better person, to get into therapy or whatever. If you have issues to work on, like work on them, no matter what your age is. Whether you're an 800-year-old slug or a 38-year-old man desperate to look younger and dyeing your beard. Who's to say?
Hey, back to the slug really quickly. So if swam away to die, so did the woman die too? Like,
Yeah.
Well, she died as soon as the symbiont
when
left
they
her
take them
body.
out. Oh,
I
she
don't
died.
think. I'm not even sure the symbiont died. I think it just went back in because it needed to like regenerate between the two.
I
But
think
I
it's
guess-
a cat. It's like a cat. It swims off to die alone. I wish they had showed the woman's body, like push her into the water.
Oh, I liked her. She
Let
seemed
the-
nice and
You
sweet.
just finished telling us that the whole like old people are useless bit was horrible, and now you're just dumping this old lady.
That's
Like,
not what I
In the
said.
trash.
That's
Like
not-
she's
that.
like
That's actually
you're
not what I
Rose and
said.
she's
over and
Jack.
just,
You were
like,
just like,
kicks her
I'll
into
never
the
let go.
pond.
Bye.
That's not what I said. I am on record as an ageist. But what I'm saying, wouldn't it be lovely if her body was food for the symbionts?
I was just about to say you fed her to the Ractogeno character.
You're taking that cat analogy to its death. Just like they just fed on her.
Just toss her in, like
They
no
took her to
respect,
her death.
no nudging, no fire, Viking. Just like literally toss the body in.
The circle of life.
Just like stand next to it and just like, you know, when you're like trying to kick something away, just like, ew, go, and just like knock her in. That would have been a great moment for Gray. I put it in the chat, but just like
They all start
okay,
nibbling
she's
on her.
there.
Then she
Yeah,
turns
they
into
all come
Catwoman.
by, yeah, and she's gone.
But she's Michelle Pfeiffer. It's weird. Yeah, I don't understand.
They're piranhas now.
I don't know. They're weird turds. They look like turds, and
They do.
They're
fucking
weird
DS9. They're these weird turds. Like, what are you supposed
not-
to do? Like, it looks like you need to eat fiber. Like, damn.
Not lost on me, Sluggo Cola appearing in the episode wherein a slug moves on to its death.
Not lost on
Making-
me.
Boo.
Beverage connection. It's not a pun. I'm just saying they were making a weird beverage. You've fucking rolled your eyes at everything I've said this episode. Just stop. Just leave me alone for like 20 minutes.
I'm sorry. I just call it as I see it. I'm not even paying attention that much.
I said I wanted Burnham to command the Enterprise. You're like, ugh. I'm like, oh, fuck off. She's a captain. What's the problem?
Okay, I just don't want to see the Enterprise.
Because it's not sovereign class. No one cares.
That's
No,
fair.
that
It
Kurt-
hurts.
right there.
Okay,
Kurt, this
I'm
is someone
the
in
angry
25% of the
drunk. Oh my
episodes.
god.
Joanne, say something bitchy to round us out. We need the full what's the word for six? Sextuplet? What?
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
That was
I
a
don't even
callback.
have- that was a good one. I don't even have anything to say. I'm just like, oh my God.
All right, well let's wrap this mother up. Final thoughts on this episode, anything that hasn't been discussed yet. Cool. Trevor, give us the tally.
No, but wait. So the very end, where
God damn it,
where-
Ken, you have got to get faster.
I know I have to get faster. I know that's what. Anyway, where they sort of drop.
That's what they all said. Woo!
Up where they drop the little thing in the clothes, the very last moment, this whatever that is, the sensor thing.
So someone tell him it's not a touchscreen.
I'm not touching the screen.
Wait, so what about it?
I mean, that's weird, isn't it? First of all, how did they?
That's it. That's what you wanted to say.
Well,
You
yes.
wanted to bring it up. That was a valid question.
He's
I
touching our hearts.
just think it was a dumb idea because now we're going to say that somehow it can track yet also be undetectable. Then
Yes.
we're going to get into this double
It's an
like
undetectable tracker.
Exactly. I'm trying to point them out. Exactly. That way.
It's what
exactly.
the plot needs it to be.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm keeping these two apart. Stop it.
But you've been taking my fire all night, Trev. So good.
Well, I'm two Nanaritas in and I'm feisty.
Yeah.
I love it.
No,
And
you
wait,
don't.
one more question.
You'll yell at
How
me
long
later.
was how long was Maul there? I didn't understand that either. Cause she's like shaking hands with all the Trill, and nobody's like, "Who is this bitch?" Like,
That's what my problem was. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, it's just
this
New
is
Guardian, who
something
dis?
that if they had taken time away from Adira and Gray's awkwardness or somewhere
hold
else,
on 1 second.
showing Maul, I don't know, kill somebody and taking their robe so that like the number of people made sense. It wasn't just like it was out of place. I kind of liked that we didn't get a ton of them this episode. Like I think there was already so much happening, but because we got so little, I think y'all are right. It was a little too little. They could have used just
And
a
yet
little
had
bit more.
4 plots all at the
Yes.
same time.
See,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
why I brought it up.
Maul specifically, a little too little of that for sure.
Yeah.
Stanley,
know,
that's
I didn't
why
mind
brought
it.
up.
I liked it.
Ken.
You were actually talking over Matt at that point, so your mumbling was not heard by anybody.
It's a shame.
Trevor, let's get the tallies, please. Let's get the tallies, please.
The tallies are as follows. There were 6 problematic gay alerts, no Bev alerts. Sorry, Bev. 1 canon alert, 1 TOS alert, or tosser alert. Just have to say that for Ken. 1 problematic ally alert. 25 bonus points to Matt for having a character named after his handle. Not really.
Convince me otherwise.
We'll work on
You
it.
can't. Thank you. We'll move on.
1,000 bonus points to Ken for bird creature references. 47 bonus points to Will for not trilling with Trill. Also wine.
I wasn't trilled. I wasn't thrilled.
You weren't
with
trilled.
Trill. I wasn't trilled.
You
with
weren't trilled.
Trill. Making a
So
pun.
47 bonus points. And Deep Space 9 bonus points to Fathery for Sluggo Cola sing-alongs.
Thank you.
Yay.
Andre. Thank you all for joining us. Remember to like and share at Salon Trek here on YouTube, on Twitter, and Blue Sky. Really appreciate y'all in the audience joining us. As always, I appreciate my Saloners. All of you, each and every one of you. Yes, even Will. Thank you all. And with that, may we all live long and prosper. Wait.
What?
Wait.
Are we back?
We're back.
We're back. We're still
Wow.
live.
Oh my god.
This is the
But-
most obvious thing in the world, but I
Now
did
everyone's
forget
going to know that we
mention,
drink.
did forget to mention Most obvious thing in the world, no surprise whatsoever. We'll be back next week for episode 4 of Star Trek Discovery, season 5. Okay, bye. Listen, I just want to do the bit. I need it for the bit. All right.
That was
Still-
I'm sorry I interrupted you. What was that?
I was gonna say it was funny, but we're still live. Oh my god, you bitch!
Yeah.
End
Come
this,
on.
please.
Okay, here we
What
go.
is
What?
Bit is over.